Hello! Yeah, it's me, Mikey Motivator. Yeah. Tim's kind of tied up with another exploded computer. You got it, Mo? Yeah, so I'm just gonna help him out a little bit by asking you to like and subscribe to this channel. I don't know if you know, but it does take him a bit of effort to make these things. But anyway, and apparently this is part 2 of some flight sim build video. I have no idea, I couldn't care less. But anyway, this is it, and I might have to go save him because he's having a bit of trouble. Alrighty, catch you later.
So I just found a little bit of an issue. I didn't think of this ahead of time, but because we're going to be putting a liquid cooler in, I need to get this front fan out, and that also means that your 3.5 inch drive bay has to come out too, because that's what was actually blanking it all. So you lose that, and this one screw is in a position where I can't get my screwdriver in. So I'm going to have to actually remove the cable management shroud there in order to get the screw out. So that one's a little bit of a, should have looked it up a bit earlier and I would have avoided that, but hey, it's okay, we can get around it. So I'll just get that shroud out the way and then we should be able to get the screw out. Alright, so that actually ended up being just a bit hard. Lesson learned on that one.
You're so dumb.
Get that fan off before you put your board in or anything else, so that way you don't have that problem. It's always funny to me, like, everything seems pretty straightforward and then you find this strange little quirk about a case and you have to have that sort of situation. But we got it out in the end, that's the main thing. And now we're ready to set up our liquid cooler. I'm probably just going to leave this plate out for now because I'm going to need to get in here in order to get the liquid cooler into position. Alrighty. So before we go mounting this into the case, just want to go over a few things about liquid coolers. One of them is the membrane in here where all the cold air blows through it and the liquid's going through. This is extremely fragile. If you hit it with something, you can easily puncture it and water will come out. So be super careful not to accidentally bang it with something. It's quite easy to drop the head onto the radiator and damage it. So just be really careful when you're doing that. Also, when you put your head on, make sure you peel off the little plastic film that protects the head so that you don't overheat it, because the heat can't transfer through the plastic. You'd be surprised how many times I've actually come across that. And the other thing is sometimes if you're going to mount it on the roof, you will probably want to pre-install your fans. So make sure you pre-install your fans if you're going to mount it on the roof. In our case, because I'm mounting vertically and it has to sandwich across the front panel, we mount the fans separately. Like once we've got that in position, we've got the radiator in position, we'll put the fan on the other side and mount it to the case. You'll see what I'm talking about shortly. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of. And the other thing I discovered about this particular liquid cooler, you remove this screw, which is a bung, and they give you some liquid that you can use to top up your liquid cooler after about a couple of years, because it does eventually dry up a bit and your coolant level drops. So they actually give you a top up. So I haven't really seen that before. I'm sure there's other manufacturers that do it, but that's another reason to buy one of these, because you can actually top up your liquid cooler and keep it running longer, because yeah, if you don't have enough liquid in there, it causes your pump to actually wear out faster, and then your liquid cooler may die a bit earlier than you were expecting. So that's really great, they give you that option. So yeah, I'm liking this Be Quiet liquid cooler so far. Alright, let's get the case in position and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, we got the case in the upright position where we're going to actually sit it, and I'll bring in the liquid cooler now. So the other rule about liquid coolers that you should try and follow as much as possible is you need the actual pump head to be lower than where it comes in to the radiator, and that's because we want air pockets to go into here, not into the head, and therefore wear out your pump, because there's like air bubbles getting into it causing cavitation and all sorts of problems. So always try to mount it either like this with the head down below it, or up on the roof, because then it's definitely below it. I do see people having to build it like this, and that's not good because you can see all the air bubbles are going to get trapped at the top. Another one is putting it down the bottom like that, as again you can see it's going to attract bubbles and air pockets to the head. But I do know that in some cases you don't really have an option, and I've had to mount it like this before. Avoid issues as much as possible. We'll mount it like this with the head lower. Alright, so what we're going to do is going to pop this in here. And the way this works is we got the bracket there, and we need to sandwich the fan onto it like so. And so you can see what I'm talking about now, how it works. So we'll put the one fan here, and then that'll hold it in place. And make sure your fan is facing the right way as well. You can see the little frame there. That's where the air will come out, so make sure that is facing towards the inside of the case, so pull the air in. Alright, so I'll get this going now. Alrighty, so now we've got the fans in. Make sure there's no obstructions on them, and you can see there's none. And yeah, just set up the fan so the cables go off to the right side here, because there's little slots where your cables pass through, so that you can put them safely away and hidden out to the motherboard and all the connectors that we need out the back. So we're right to click on the dust filter again, like so, and we're also, it's fine now to put the front panel back on, and boom, we've got the radiator part installed, which then leads us to do the head. So yeah, the head will come like this, and then we'll have to, of course, adjust the wiring up over the top, but the head will mount. It looks like it actually, yeah, it goes like that. Or am I missing something? No. I've made a mistake. So these are the screws for mounting it onto the thing, and if you want the actual logo to sit in the correct position, you need to put your mounting plates in here in the right place. So in my case, they should have gone across the top and the bottom, not the vertical sides, because if I do that, that means it has to be mounted like that, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to have to just take these brackets off, put them in the right spot. Not a huge fat mistake, but just something you can now avoid by learning from me.
You're so dumb.
Alright, let's get this fixed up. Alright, so now you can see I've got the brackets mounted horizontally, and now when we put this in position, it's going to sit in the correct orientation. Alright, but we won't mount the head just yet because I need to lay it down, get some paste onto the CPU surface, peel this off and mount it while it's laying flat. Don't try and mount it vertically, it's just too awkward. Lay your case down flat and you'll have a lot less trouble with getting it into position. Alright. Alrighty, so we have our liquid cooler head screwed on now, and cables are nice and neat there. So now we can move on to doing all the cabling that goes to the motherboard and all the connectors and all that sort of stuff. We don't have to get it perfect right now, but because we just want to get it to a point where we can do a quick power on test to make sure everything's functioning. So we'll get onto the cabling. Alright. Just before I do start doing the cabling, just wanted to show you that the liquid cooler comes with a 3-way splitter. So this connector goes to your motherboard, and then your 3 fans go into these 3 connectors on the back of the board, and then your liquid cooler pump, it will go to the connector that says pump on the motherboard, and this will go to your CPU fan connector on the motherboard. So yeah, alright, let's get going. Alrighty, so yeah, we've got the basic wiring done. So 24 pin, the 2 8 pins, got your 12 volt high power coming through, so we're ready to put the graphics card there. And you got your USB 3 and your Type C, your front panel connector, and your HD audio. And I've connected the 3 liquid cooler fans onto the back. So yeah, we'll lay it down and we'll pop the vid card in, but we'll have to remove some of these blanking plates first so we can actually get the card in. But yeah, it's coming together. We're getting close to turning on. Alright, so I've prepped the case with the blanking plates, and I got the video card out of its packaging and taken off all the peels, and yeah, so quite a nice looking card. It's got sort of a silvery gold colour, which kind of works well with a white case. And you can see there the 12 volt high power is on the middle top of it. So yeah, it's actually a lighter card than other cards I've done, so that's pretty impressive. So yeah, we'll just take the little protector off and we'll get it installed. Yeah, so I recommend installing graphics cards while your computer's laying down. It's a lot safer and easier to get it into the slot correctly so that you don't damage anything. Alright, I think I got it lined up now. Yep, click. Alright, so we'll screw that in. Alright, and now you can see the graphics card in position. That looks really nice. And then we can bring the 12 volt high power. So like I said, we don't want to put too much pressure on bending the cable. We just want it to go in nicely. So it's got that yellow, so you know when it's seated correctly. And I don't see any yellow at all, which means it's seated correctly, and we've kept it nice and free so it's not bending right down on that connector. So that's what we want. So yeah, we've got it to the basic setup. It's really cool they include this anti-sag stand, and I just recently learnt I've been doing my anti-sags probably incorrectly. I was watching another YouTube, Northwest Repair, and he said a lot of people put it on this corner here, but that actually doesn't. It actually still puts pressure on your slot and everything. So he recommends putting it in the middle. So I'm going to start doing that from this point on. But yeah, this is magnetic, so it's got a magnetic base, and you just got to locate where the fans are not going to get touched, and then we'll just adjust it. So you just loosen this off, and then you can pull it out to the right height. So I'll just get it in the right spot. So there we have it. We've got the anti-sag stand much closer to the slot, therefore taking the pressure off it. So yeah, somewhere in this sort of area is the best place to put it, not on the corner. So don't do that anymore if you've been doing that. Cool, we're up to doing a basic power test. We'll go on to that right now. Okay. Got it in position, plugged in, power's on, and everything seems to be connected, and we'll do the first power on. And it's looking promising. We've got fans going, just waiting for something to appear on my screen to the right, or your left. Yep, fans just calmed down. Beautiful, I got a picture. Something doesn't feel right. It's like something normally happens now, but I don't know what it is. Who cares? It's all good. Yeah, well, don't worry about what just happened then. Totally normal. Yeah, you can see that we've got into the BIOS, 43 degrees on the core temp. So at idle, that's that's okay. I would expect it to be a little bit lower, to be honest. So I might have to investigate whether the liquid cooler head is sitting properly on that CPU. It might be just I need to adjust it. But other than that, it's looking very positive. So there you go, all neat and tidy. Yeah, unfortunately he won't get to see all the neat and tidy because it's going to have a solid side on it. But yeah, if it had a clear side, it would probably look pretty nice. And as you can see, there's the minimal RGB there, which he's not going to see that, and it probably won't disturb him that much anyway. So yeah, we're just going to have to wait now until we get his data. In the meantime, I'll run my memory test and make sure the memory is okay. But yeah, it's looking really good and it's running really quiet. But I just wanted to show you now that the drivers are all in and set up. You can see that the CPU core temperatures have dropped way down to 31. So yeah, it looks like it's just the BIOS is reading a bit higher than it should be. I'm not sure exactly why, but when we're inside Windows and the computer's idling, it's definitely down to the right temperature that I would expect from a liquid cooler. But yeah, I'm running out of time for this computer, but yeah, I just wanted to get some benchmarks in. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you it working with Flight Sim because I don't own a copy of it, and when I look at the prices, I was like, the cost of Flight Sim is crazy, and I'm not really going to play that myself, so I don't want to just buy it for no reason. But yeah, we'll have a look at the superposition benchmark. Alright, there we go. A little bit easier to see the numbers. So yeah, we're looking at, so we're averaging 145 frames per second. That's pretty good, and the temps are like 68 degrees on the graphics card, so that's really good. So we got a score of 19,065, which is pretty good. I'm just going to check what I got. Hang on a sec. So yeah, there's my superposition score. I got a 13,431, and yeah, I well and truly got thumped by this customer's computer, which is what I would expect because his computer is definitely more powerful with the 5080 in it and the new Ultra 7 processor in there as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure his computer is going to be able to run Flight Sim pretty well. Alright, we're going to run the Steel Nomad 3D Mark benchmark, and we'll see how well this works on this machine. Yeah, I only just recently figured out how to run 3D Mark on customer computers by utilizing Steam. So yeah, from now on I should be able to do this on all new builds just to make sure everything's running hunky-dory and just get overall benchmarks. This is making the fans spin up a little bit more on the graphics card, whereas on the superposition tests they barely changed, so looks like this is pushing it a little bit harder. Alright, so it looks like we got a score of 8,583, but we'll run this test on my computer next, and I'll just see how I rate on this particular test. I think he's going to have no problem. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, his was like in the 8,000. I'm 5,000, so yeah, he is definitely running way better than me. Alright, well I'll just finalise the case now and put the lid on it, and then that'll be it. Yeah. Alright, so here's a final look at the internals of the computer before I put the lid on it. I did find out later on that you can actually put the 3.5-inch hard drive bay back in, and once you've got your liquid cooler in position, so you can actually hide that gap a little bit. But I decided not to do that because it actually literally blocks airflow from the radiator coming in, so I decided to leave it out. If the customer wants to put it back in at some other stage we can do that, but I don't see him needing to do that because he's not using 3.5-inch hard drives, and most people won't. And yeah, I've put the fan that was on the front up on the roof and blowing out the top to help evacuate hot air. So yeah, that's what happened to the fan that was previously in the front. Yeah, pretty happy with the performance of the 5080, the Inspire 3X. Works very well and remains quiet even under load, so pretty impressive. So we'll put the lid on and you'll get to see the final product, and then it's going to be heading off to the customer for him to enjoy some Flight Sim 2024. And there we have it, the finished product. It looks a little bit plain, but that's just my personal taste. I would have liked to seen my internals, but it definitely has a very powerful computer in there, and it's going to run his Flight Sim really well, and I just got to go with whatever the customer wants in the end anyway. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching to the end. I always find it hard to edit these things, so we keep the info without going too long. So I appreciate you watching to the end. And even better, if you could give me a like on this video, it would really help me out. And even better again, if I could get a subscription from you. But thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.